Yeah, Tuesday. What's up, everybody? Tuesday morning. Welcome to today's edition of the Daily Market Commentary. I am your host, Chuck Fulkerson. Hope everybody had a great trading day yesterday as we were bullish on the day and the markets gave us a little bit of a gift if you looked for the breakout trade. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor, click the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, as the alerts and the updates are important so that you know when we post this on a daily basis. If you are not new to the channel, do me a favor, throw a like on there. It doesn't take you but half a second, but it means a lot to the computers. Hit that little thumbs up button. That would be great. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go ahead and dive right in. So this morning, looking at the S&P, we're up another 3%. That takes us up about 8% in the last 2 days. But we've had a very, very big, strong run up, which is not overly surprising. We were looking at a breakout yesterday above this region right here, and we did get a very nice breakout. So leave me a comment down below if you were able to catch this breakout, as we did get a nice move off of that run from 2587. We're now sitting at a much higher level. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we had done was post our targets on that position. Let me just move this over here real quick. So if you're a Traders Army member, make sure that you are checking our trade updates and our trade worksheet every day. And looking at the trade updates yesterday, after the trade was posted, we put our targets as 2631, 2679, and 2711. We then update throughout the day when those trades hit their targets. And when they're coming close to the supply level. Matter of fact, we did come close to a supply level, and we're going to switch to a confirmation entry before entering the basing. So that's exactly what was in the update. So let me explain that. So all three of our targets were hit, 2631, which if you missed the initial breakout, you had another opportunity for a breakout at this 2635. So, those of you that don't trade breakouts, one of the things that I ask on a very regular basis is why not? I think breakouts are a very viable way of trading, and something that if you are not aware of, you should definitely take a look at. Because what happens is, if you're just looking to get long on a pullback to a demand zone, oftentimes in a big move up, you're not going to get an opportunity to get filled. We were looking at this demand zone as an opportunity to get filled if we didn't get the breakout back on Sunday night. And so now we've identified a new area of demand right in here. Now, we did come up to our supply level. Let's explain and take a look at this supply level. With the context of a bigger picture uptrend, this supply level needs to become a confirmation short. But looking at kind of where we are off the bottom, one of the things to consider is that we've rallied 25% now up off of our lows. If I go to our lows, and I pull up to our highs. Oops, that's not the drawing tool I need. If I go to our lows and I pull up to our highs, we've rallied right at 26.6% off of the lows from our lowest points. And so that move up off the bottom, now remember, we dropped 35% and rallied back up another 25%, which still puts us overall at 20% down. So I will say that I'm not of the belief that on the big picture that we are completely out of the woods on the big picture, but definitely on smaller time frames, I'm going to continue to look for only longs. Now, doesn't mean, by the way, that I'm jumping in shorts, with all reckless abandon. All of my shorts have to become confirmation entries, and I'm waiting for pullbacks to quality areas of demand. So we have come into this hourly level, and we based in front of the level, and we popped above it. So that confirmation entry is no longer going to be a valid long entry. Now, I will look at this little wick over wick area that we have here down below in case we get a little pullback today at this region here. And we may or may not get that little pullback today into that region. There are some supply levels up above us. Know that in the big context of a bigger picture upward trend, those supply levels are all confirmation entries. Now, our strongest market has been the NASDAQ, and it continues to be so. We talked about the S&P is up 26% off of the bottom. The NASDAQ is about the same, up 26.4% up off the bottom. So we're seeing about the same movement in those, although the last few days, the NASDAQ has really been the one to lead us to the upside, and we can see that same area of demand on that wick over wick area that we just talked about in the S&P. Looking at crude oil. So crude oil, we're still below our supply level. We really based sideways yesterday after we had this gap down and then a move up. This move up, we didn't make it to the gap fill area. This is a confirmation for a short anyway. But I will say when I move to the 4-hour, we have definitely put in a little bit of sideways price action in here that is very reminiscent of kind of a bull pennant pattern. This is still more of a bullish than a bearish pattern overall, especially the fact that we're still in a bigger picture upward trend. And we could get a breakout from this level, either one way or the other. And so when I have this sideways where there's so much potential for a breakout, I typically don't necessarily want to lean on a breakout in this environment, because I see that oftentimes those breakouts give me a false entry. If you wanted to give this a go and you were being a little bit more aggressive and you wanted to take the breakout, I'm okay if you get long somewhere up above 27.40, somewhere in that range. But your stop has to be fairly tight down here below 26.61, which, based on the ATR of oil, that's a fairly small level. But based on your personal risk tolerance, that still may be too much. So if that's too much of a level, too much risk for you, instead of trading the CL, take a look at trading the QM, which gets you the mini of of crude oil, which you can still take advantage of it, but it trades at a smaller size. All right, next, looking at gold. So gold had a big rip up yesterday. I felt like a fool missing this strong move up. We had a nice breakout in gold yesterday. This little area here gave us a bit of a breakout. For those of you that took it, you got a little bit of a run up, and it moved about 2 to 1, 3 to 1 from that area. We've now pulled back down a little bit from the high, and are starting to see this move down a little bit more. So if you were looking for a short opportunity today, you may get a little bit of a move off of this high upper wick right here, which is our European market level. I'm going to make this just the smaller 15-minute level, but this is, right off of, this is actually over here off the European market open, but we've got this little supply area right here that we may see a bit of a reversal. I don't think it's a great supply level because we are in very much a sideways price action at this point. And so I'm going to leave it in here, but I'm going to make it a confirmation entry. So I feel that may not hold over the course of the longer term. So now moving on to bond markets. So in the bonds yesterday, we talked about a short breakdown. So hopefully you're able to catch our short breakdown in bonds as we got a pretty nice move away in our short breakdown trade off of that level. Price continued to move down. Now we have come into our demand zone. We got there in the overnight sessions, but we're really not getting much of a reaction off of our overnight demand zone. Now our 4-hour trend is not officially a downward trend as of yet, although we have new lows. And so it looks like this one's going to be a stop out for a small loss relative to the risk that it was rewarded, that was offered, as we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles in, and our stop would be below this this pivot right here, or at the tightest, this green candle, the leg into this base, and we're not getting much of a move out of there. But usually when I see that sets up for a breakdown again. So another opportunity here exists for a breakdown trade. If indeed we get a bit of a rally up, take a look at this area here as a supply level. Inside of the Aussie's rallying up strong off of our potential breakdown short. And so I'm going to put this area right here. And the reason I'm doing this line is because when we go all the way back, we see that it acted as support back here, resistance up here, resistance. And so now we're basing in front of the level. that is a definition of a fair price value area, right? I don't just use supply and demand zones. We use fair price value areas. They're a bit different than supply and demand zones. And that difference is very important because it talks about where orders added to the queue. And what I'm looking for here is the orders added to the queue for a long breakout to the upside from here. So keep an eye on that level for today. In the euro, we've got a little supply level up above us, but remember the way that we look at these supply levels. Currently, we're basing right here. And since we're basing right there, that would have to be my first target. And since that's where we're basing, that means that my risk is going to be this much, and my reward would be that same much. So actually would be less. I have a less than a 1-to-1 reward to risk. So just because we identify a level doesn't mean that we're going to take the level. And this is where I think a lot of traders make the mistake being of the set it and forget it type, that when you're in the set it and forget it candle and that's all you do is the set it and forget it style, you miss out on the arrival. And we have found that the arrival is the most important way to gauge if that trade's going to work, because it tells us to see how many orders have been added to the queue after the creation of the zone, which I think is what a lot of people tend to miss out on if they're only looking at the formation of the level in the beginning. So I'm going to put this area down here of demand, which is a fair price value area based on some of these prior bounces, as I think we could get a reversal back down into there for a little bit of a move higher. Now, on a 15-minute chart, I'm actually going to adjust this to here based on looking at the 15-minute level. Make it a bit smaller. All right, looking at the Canadian dollar. So our breakout on the Canadian dollar hit, and we're getting a little run out of that Canadian dollar breakout. If you caught that Canadian dollar breakout, it's a good opportunity to take your stop and move it up to break even because we've gotten a little bit of a move. We're starting to stall out. If you missed the breakout trade, or if you just want to maybe take some profits, but you want a chance to re-enter, take some profits off of it now and then wait for a pullback into this region where I think you can get long again. Looking at the Great British Pound and Japanese yen. So in our pound position, we did have a little bit of a breakdown in the pound in the overnight sessions last night. This one didn't give me clear basing before the level for a breakdown entry. If you took it, you got a small stop out as it rallied up right away, but you didn't get a true reason for the breakout in order to get in. So now what are we looking at? Well, we're looking at our supply level up above us, but we came really close to that supply without able to get filled. So whenever that occurs, we switch this to a confirmation entry because we came close to the level and we're unable to get filled. So that's got to switch to confirmation. I don't know that one's really going to give me a good opportunity. Once again, basing before the level will be the kiss of death. And then last but certainly not least is our Japanese yen, although I don't have anything clean in this one right now. Still waiting for the breakout below here and the reversal in this zone. So those are my levels for today. If you guys have any questions, as always, send us an email, support@tradersarmy.com. I appreciate you guys joining us today, and I look forward to talking to you later tonight. I will talk to you soon. See ya.